This is just one more reason that we should be producing environmentally friendly, sustainable fuel.
Most of the time when people say biofuels, they refer to biodiesel and ethanol. Biodiesel runs in diesel vehicles. The ethanol runs in the gasoline vehicles.
Interestingly enough, when Rudolf Diesel invented the diesel engine, he used vegetable oil. That was the original diesel fuel. Ethanol also goes way back. The original Model T Ford was run on ethanol.
Ethanol traditionally has come from corn, although now we're finding ways to make ethanol from agricultural waste. Biodiesel, on the other hand, is a vegetable oil-based fuel. So it comes from things like soybeans, cottonseed oil, products that have a high oil content. The biggest advantage is that it's renewable. You know, we can grow corn, we can grow soybeans, these are things that can be renewed every year, as opposed to petroleum, which comes out of the ground, and once we use it, it's gone.
This is the most exciting thing we've had in agriculture, is to go from food into also going into making alternative fuels. The Soybean Council got into biodiesel because we have an excess of soybean oil each year, and what we're looking at in the United States is using the excess oil that has been accumulating over the years and that we have each year for fuel.
My first reaction as a farmer, businessman is this is wonderful, because this is a good domestic consumer of the product I grow, and you still have a byproduct of what is called dried distillers grain, and that's like a meal, and that can still go into livestock feed.
The farmers bring the corn to this site. We take the starch portion of that kernel of corn and we convert that to fuel. The protein, the fiber, the fat can still be sold as food. We call it value-added agriculture. That's what this business is founded on, is taking the farmer's crop and adding value.
It is conceivable that soybeans that are grown on my farm in Haywood County, Tennessee, could end up being biodiesel that I can turn around and burn in my own machinery. So you've kind of closed the circle here.
Energy security is one of the three main reasons that the federal government is interested in these fuels, the other two being economics and environment.
The government has been really investing in research and development because we're finding out that some of these products that we're just throwing away can actually be used for ethanol, and we're looking at economic development opportunities for that also.
The other way that the federal government has been involved is through incentives which were passed by Congress to help jumpstart the industry. Now, obviously, the private sector is going to have a business model that can sustain this without federal subsidies. The whole point in passing any tax incentive is to jumpstart the industry, to bridge that gap between research and deployment.
The other really exciting part of this biofuel industry is that we can start using it in lots of different products in our everyday lives. Plastic has traditionally been made from petroleum. Plastic cups, pens, computer screens, all that stuff has petroleum in it. Well, we can replace that with soybean-based plastic, with soybean-based ink, with soybean-based crayons for our children. It's healthier, it's more environmentally friendly.
The farmer is a businessman. This is just another source of consumption or demand for my product. And any farmer will tell you that they would rather have a high enough price to cover their cost of production and make a profit rather than depend upon the government program than the subsidies that come with it. But it's helping the environment. It's also helping the farmer, businessman, and I would say it would be less of a burden on the U.S. taxpayer.
This is an ideal way to look at cleaner air, economical advantages that come to the nation, getting away from imports, and just having something different that works extremely well, that actually works better than petroleum.
You get a lot of bang for the buck when you talk about emission reductions, because you can change your fuel and affect emission reduction, economic development, and you just driving along, you just really don't know all the good that you're doing.
We can provide a fuel that's lower cost, cleaner burning, higher performance, and made right here at home.
By best case scenarios, we may run out of petroleum. We may have the 60-year supply left. But we can't wait 60 years before we change. It's going to take time to get these biofuels transitioned into the existing transportation infrastructure. But we have to start now making that transition into some alternatives so that we can either extend that supply further into the future, or when it runs out, we can have a seamless transition.
There's a number of things that the average person can do to promote these fuels and increase awareness. You can go to the Department of Energy's Clean Cities website, to the Alternative Fuels Data Center, and there's a listing of cars and trucks that can use this fuel. A lot of times people are driving these already and don't know it. And of course with biodiesel, you can use it in any diesel engine without modification. The key is just to go ahead and buy a vehicle, choose one next time you buy that is capable of running these fuels, and then find where they're for sale and start running them.
Virtually every auto manufacturer makes some kind of model, whether it's an alternative fuel or more fuel efficient through a hybrid or something. Every auto manufacturer is looking at this problem of petroleum consumption. It's worth it for everybody who has a car 2000 model year or newer to at least look at their owner's manual to see if they can take ethanol. And the big advantage with that is that you can switch back and forth between the two. You could put gasoline in one day, you could put ethanol in another day. So no matter where you're driving, no matter where you are in the country, you would always be able to put the available fuel in. You know, choice is what our nation thrives on, and ultimately I think is what people will demand.